Hey there, YouTubers. Me again. Guess what we're working on today? Good old American-made Toyota. Toyota. Okay, maybe not American-made, but now they are assembled in America. But anyway, I keep having a very tenacious chicken. Just doesn't want to give up on coming in the shop today. Anyway, so much for that. This thing, the AC, I had to put a new, can't tell because of, maybe a little bit. I had to put a new condenser in. In order to do a new condenser, you got to get rid of all the air conditioning stuff, all the juice. So, we're going to put new juice in. And I thought, well, hey, a lot of people out there might want to juice up their own air conditioning system, right? I mean, if you don't know how to do it, it can be daunting, but it's really quite simple. So we're going to simply, it's the same, if yours is just low, like if your air conditioner's not working or it's blowing kind of lukish warm or blowing just a little bit cool but not like freezing your toes out of it, well, then you probably need a little bit of freon. And I'll show you how to check to see if you got enough freon and if there's another problem in the system. Usually, if it's got freon and the compressor's coming on, it should be good. There are other problems that can arise, but 99% of the time it's a leak. So, if you got a really slow leak, you can have, you might just need to add 1 or 2 cans of freon and whoop, you're done. So, this video is going to be a short one. It's going to be how to add freon to your Toyota Tacoma, but it would probably exactly be the same for the the Tacoma and the, what's the bigger one? Anyway, I don't know, the Tacoma. And I think the 4Runner is exactly the same as this. So it'll at least cover the 4Runner, but I think it'll cover the bigger model of whatever Toyota makes. So anyway, let's get started. We're just going to start with the little meter and where to hook it for starters. And then we're going to show you how to make it work. We are on the passenger side of the vehicle, or otherwise known as the right side of the vehicle. Here's your air box. This is your air box here, and this is the hose leading up to the plenum. And so they're right here in this little cubby, right over in this corner. This is the brake, if you don't know how to stop, we do mechanism. I think there's a little brain box over here too, but we'll try not to stomp on that too hard. But you'll see these little caps. Okay, you got a small line, real skinny line with a big cap, and then we got a fat line with a little cap. I know it's kind of weird because big gets little and little gets big, but it's just, that's how they do things. Anyway, put the cap where you can make sure you hit it with your elbow and lose it. Nope. I'm going to put it over here because I always put it close by and then I always hit it and I always lose it. So anyway, right, I've got one of these types. It's just a regular can and it's just got a dial on and a trigger. In this particular one, the trigger, it's only going to go put freon in when the trigger is pulled. Take this end, it's going to go on the small fitting, but the large hose. It's like numerically higher gears or actually lower gears as far as ratio goes. It doesn't make any sense. But same thing here. Large hose, small. You can't mess it up. That's the cool thing about it. Is that it won't go. If you look at this one, it's huge. It will not go on there. So it's what I call idiot-proof. That way idiots like me can work on them. But you're going to pull up on this little doohickey here. You're going to push it down over. You'll feel it snap in. Won't come off. Okay? Now, this is where it's going to get a little tricky because, you may or may not be able to hear me. I've got to start the vehicle. The compressor will not run until there's enough pressure to make it run, because it's what they call a low-pressure switch in it. So I'm going to go ahead and start the vehicle. I'm going to let it run, and then I'm going to start putting freon in. And there's different beliefs on how this works. The can actually says hold it on its side. It's against the rules to turn it upside down, which I frequently do just because I like to speed things up. But you're better off not doing that because that can introduce a liquid, and that sometimes doesn't go well. And I have a video that shows how not well it can go. Okay, so it tells you to lay it on its side. So if you want to lay it on its side, you can. I kind of recommend doing this. Go back and forth. Go side to side, and that way it keeps it agitated. And you'll feel the can will get colder when you do that, and that's because you're introducing more of the freon. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing started, and then we'll get started. Once you get the engine started, make sure you put the air conditioner on and on high recirculate. Now this particular vehicle, you can't really see the compressor very well, but we're going to be able to tell just by looking at this needle when the compressor kicks in. So I'm going to pull the trigger, and it's going to start putting freon in. And I can feel the can getting cold. Okay? So as long as the can stays cold, I'm just going to keep it on this side. If it starts to get warmer, I'm going to go ahead and flip it to the other side. I used to tip it upside down and tell people don't do this, so rather than do that, we'll just do it the right way, and we'll just lay it on its side. I'll be able to hear the compressor kick in, maybe you will too, so I'll quit talking right now. And that way, if you hear the compressor kick in, still cold. Now if I let go of the trigger, you can see that we're in a good range, but we're going to go way into the red before the compressor actually kicks on. But don't worry about that. When the system's off, it's going to be in the red. But when it's running, if it's in the red, that's bad mojo. Still cold. I vacuumed this system out, which again, if you're just adding freon to yours, you don't need to do that. I put in a new condenser, so I vacuumed this thing out for a good 10-12 hours. It's just putting a vacuum on it to let any moisture in the system evaporate. See how we're getting further and further towards the red? Whew. If you shake it a little, you'll really feel it get cold. That's how you tell if there's any left in there too. You give it a little shake. It'll tell you if there's any in the can. Can starts to get empty, you shake it, it won't get any colder. But again, we're listening for the click of the compressor to turn on, and then that needle will come down significantly. But you got to let go of the trigger to get a reading. That's the humdinger of it all. Okay. See how the dial is way down now? That's because the compressor kicked in. I didn't hear this one kick in, but sometimes it's loud. This one didn't. It kicked in, but see how it's low? Now we're going to try to keep putting freon until we get into the green. Okay, as you can see, we're at about the 40 mark. I'm holding. Just a tad more. Now, ambient temperature inside the truck is 81. That's what I like to see. 46.5 degrees coming out of the vent. 45, 44, 43. Holy Moses and Aaron. She's icy cold. 42. Boy, that's good. Downright chilly. So that's what we want to see, folks. As you see, it's 43 degrees blowing out of that vent and 80 degrees outside. Well, it might be a little cooler now with the rain, but that's a substantial difference. That makes me happy. That's what I'm looking for. That's what you should be looking for. If you're less than that, anything more than 15 degrees difference between the ambient temperature, which is what's outside, or what's in the truck, and then what's coming out of those vents, anything more than 15 is awesome. But when you can get that much difference, you're kicking butt. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. See ya.